Hey everyone, I'm Mike from theparkprodigy.com, and on today's video we have an updated list of the biggest mistakes to avoid at Universal Orlando. That's right, I've done this video in the past. I actually think I did this video live as one of my first videos on our YouTube channel, so if you want a good laugh of me trying to figure out exactly how YouTube works, be sure to go check out that video. But it is an updated list this time around. We have over 20 of the biggest mistakes that you'll want to avoid when planning a Universal Orlando vacation, specifically in 2024 and beyond. So if you are in the process of planning a Universal Orlando trip, just be sure to stick around till the end of this video. As always, I'm very excited, so let's go get started. Thank you all again so much for checking out this video. Like I said, we are about to break down the biggest 20 mistakes that we have picked up as you are planning a Universal Orlando vacation in 2024 and beyond. And of course, if you are in the process of planning a Universal Orlando trip and you do need more videos like this, just be sure to subscribe to our channel as we have a lot more similar content coming out in the coming weeks. But we're going to jump right in, and we are going to start with number one. And the biggest mistake for 2024 would essentially be not going on a Universal Orlando vacation if you are trying to get the biggest bang for your buck. So if you are the type of family where you have been dying to take your family on this family vacation to Orlando, but you really want the best deal possible, I don't think there's going to be a better year than 2024 for the foreseeable future. And that is because Universal Orlando has a brand new theme park which will be released in 2025, and the hype around Epic Universe, which is that brand new theme park, is real. Universal very recently just announced all of the brand new lands that will be coming to this park, and people are going bananas. And honestly, it makes sense, with the deals that we're seeing right now in 2024. At the time of the recording of this video, we are seeing buy 2 days, you get 2 days free for theme park tickets, and Universal Orlando is still running 25% off on select vacation packages. So what I'm saying is, if you really want to get the best deal possible, I don't think we're going to see deals like this for a very, very long time at the Universal Orlando theme park. So just keep that in mind, because it might be a great year for you to visit. Moving over to number two, and this is kind of an oldie but a goodie, kind of bringing it back. And we would say the mistake here is buying your theme park tickets at the park gate. Now, this is a mistake for a couple of different reasons, but most importantly, as you could see, Universal is running some great deals. So if you time it right now, like I said, you can get buy 2 days, you get 2 days free. It's not guaranteed that if you're traveling, let's say 3 or 4 months from now, that Universal will still be running that deal. So it always pays to do your research and kind of just understand, the moving parts of the park tickets. You'll really get a feel for what is the best park ticket for me and my family. And then of course it allows you'll always save when you buy in advance. It doesn't matter if you go and you shop on our website, theparkprodigy.com, where we do have the discounted theme park tickets. We have that deal to buy 2 days, you get 2 days free. Or if you just buy your tickets in advance from Universal Orlando, there's a little bit less of a savings there, but there's always a benefit and a savings of buying in advance versus at the park gates. So always make sure you take advantage of that. And I've said this a lot of times. My biggest thing is you'll also save time, which I think when you get down there is the most valuable currency you have. You want to spend your time in the parks on rides, and you don't want to spend it trying to figure out at the ticket booth what tickets do I need. So you'll see there's just a lot of benefits of buying your theme park tickets in advance. Over to mistake number three, and that would be buying your express passes 1 day at a time. Now, this is specifically true if you are in the process and if you plan to use the Universal Express Pass for multiple days. I've spoken about this again on our channel, and Universal does have essentially a combo ticket which will give you admission into the theme parks plus the Universal Express Pass. And what would happen is, if you compare the combo ticket to buying the Express Passes individually 1 day at a time, there typically is a great savings with going with that, Universal Express Pass combo ticket. I would also say another mistake is not pricing out staying at one of the premier resorts. If you want the Universal Express Pass, just again, because those Universal Orlando Premier Resorts do give you the Express Pass for free. So even if you're only planning to use the Express Pass for 1 day, but you need a hotel room, at least go price it out and shop around just to make sure you're getting the best deal possible. Okay, over to mistake number four, and we're sticking with the Express Pass a lot. But honestly, this is something, from helping so many families over the years, these are just some of the things that we see continuously, especially from speaking with people. Another mistake I see is a lot of families will come to me and they'll say, hey, Mike, someone told me that I need to get the Universal Express Pass. Well, I don't know if you guys have looked at ticket pricing, but the Universal Express Pass is more expensive than the actual admission ticket. Now, of course, it is a premium product because you get a premium result. It actually does what, it states it's going to do, which is helps you skip every single line in the theme park. So except for 2 rides. The most important is it does not include Hagrid. So I do have to state that, but it does do what it's supposed to do, right? So because of that, this is such a popular product. But what a lot of families might fall into the trap of thinking is, I need to get this. Well, my question to you would always be, what are the most important rides to you? Like, why are you going to Universal Orlando? Specifically, if you're only going for the Wizarding World of Harry Potter, then my honest opinion is you most likely don't need it. You can still get through everything within the Wizarding World without the Universal Express Pass. So that's just something to keep in mind. And going back to tip and trick number 2 is just understanding the moving parts and understanding what might be the best fit for you and your family. Now, over to number 5, of course, sticking with the Universal Express Pass, on brand, on topic. We would say if you only have the regular Universal Express Pass, which allows you to go onto each ride one time, another mistake is using that Express Pass early in the morning when wait times are still relatively low. And again, just like it sounds, because by doing this, essentially, if you know that the wait time for this ride is 10 minutes and you're cool waiting that 10 minutes, don't use your Express Pass, because what you can do is you can go on that ride, and if you enjoy it so much, then later in the day you can come and use your Express Pass when wait times are the highest. All right, over to the next mistake that we see families making, and we would say not having a game plan, especially when visiting Universal Orlando with young kids. Now, why this is so important compared to, let's say, visiting with older kids or teens, is that when it comes to the kid rides at Universal Orlando, they really are spread out between the 2 main theme parks. And now this is especially true as we do have a brand new land coming to Universal Studios Florida in DreamWorks Land. And so, as you could see, it's a different game plan than, let's say, over in Disney, where over in Disney, if you're trying to get onto as many kid rides within the day as possible. If you go to Magic Kingdom Park, I've spoken about this, there's over 25 different rides in Magic Kingdom Park. Over in Universal Orlando, there's a lot for young kids to do. However, it's split between the 2 parks. So this kind of ties into, maybe you need a park-to-park ticket, to make sure that you're having the most amount of fun within your day. But just making sure you have a game plan. And another great tip and trick, or a mistake that we see that you want to avoid, is if you're visiting with young kids, specifically for the Wizarding World of Harry Potter, and you're planning a couple days in Universal, specifically for the Wizarding World of Harry Potter, not taking a look at the Harry Potter vacation package that Universal Orlando has to offer. And the reason why this is so important is it could actually save you money, but it also makes planning that much easier. And the Wizarding World of Harry Potter vacation package, of course, it comes with a Universal Orlando hotel plus tickets, but it also gives you breakfast at the Leaky Cauldron. It gives you breakfast at the 3 Broomsticks. It gives you a Shutterbuttons photography session. And then now new is it also comes with an additional snack at this point in time. And so again, you could see that you could pretty much bundle it. You could save a couple of bucks, and you can essentially have an on-brand, Harry Potter vacation package through Universal Orlando. And we do book this a lot over at the Park Prodigy, and that's one of the reasons why I know, how important or helpful it can be to families. So another important one, sticking on topic of food, if you are trying to save money, one of the great tips and tricks, and I actually learned this over at the Crystal Palace. The Crystal Palace has a great Universal Orlando channel as well, so if you'll be sure to go check her out. But that would be hopping out of the park to go to some of those quick service restaurants over in City Walk. Now, specifically, some of them that come to mind, they're going to be Burger King, Panda Express, and then Moe's Southwest Grill. But you could see, if you don't want to spend those theme park prices, even on the quick service meals, you can very simply just hop over, and you'll see the reason why this is a great tip and trick is because City Walk is connected to the main 2 theme parks. So you can easily walk over to City Walk, to grab a lunch over in, Panda Express, and then hop back over to the parks. Now, another mistake that I see families make, especially when trying to save money, would be, just always getting their food from the Universal Orlando restaurants, and just always, buying from a restaurant in general. One of the great things that I love to do, specifically when I go to Universal, when I go to Orlando in general for, an extended period of time, maybe over 4 days, those week-long vacations, is I'll get groceries delivered via Instacart to my hotel room. And then what this will allow me to do is now I have snacks, I have late night snacks, I have breakfast options in the morning. Of course, you'll do like quick grab and go stuff. But of course, I could get, $100 worth of groceries for the week if I paid, for those snacks within the park, I'd easily spend over $100. It's absurd how much theme park food costs. So you could see that's another great one, especially when you're trying to ball out on a budget. So over to number 10, and kind of sticking on food, another one that we see, and I see families overlook, is that you might not know that you can make restaurant reservations over in some of the other Universal Orlando hotels. So even if you're staying in, let's say, a Universal Orlando Value Resort where Endless Summer only has quick service meals, but that doesn't mean that you can't go and enjoy the other Universal hotels, specifically the restaurants within those hotels. And this is really, for those nicer restaurants. But, another one that I love doing this at, like this is how it popped into my head, is when I stay at Aventura, which is one of my favorite hotels, I'll always make a reservation, over at Sapphire Falls, because it's literally right across the street. I can then walk to my dinner reservation, later in the night, and then walk back to my hotel. You could do this with a lot of the hotels. Get creative, look at the restaurants in the hotels, and don't, avoid making a reservation at those restaurants. Okay, so the next mistake we see families make, and that would be not preparing or thinking about the clothes or the shoes that you're going to wear within the theme parks. Now, of course, when it comes to a theme park vacation, there is a lot of walking that goes into these days. There are some days when I'll easily walk 16 to 17 miles, and I've seen families walk a lot more than that. So it is a lot, right? You want to be prepared for that. You want to think about what type of shoes am I bringing from home? My shoes comfortable? Can I wear them all day? And then also B, what type of clothes am I wearing in the theme park? 9 months out of the year in Florida, it's going to be extremely hot, right? And even those other 3 months, you don't know what you're going to get. You could end up being, chilly at night, or you could be really, really hot too. Florida is unpredictable, especially the same thing with thunderstorms, rainstorms, stuff like that. Give some thought to what type of clothes you need to be bringing on your Universal Orlando trip. Over to the next mistake, and that would be not downloading the Universal Orlando app. Now, this is an oldie but a goodie, but it really is, important in today's day and age, as Universal is starting to, bring out a lot of new, new resources on the app. So specifically, the time of the recording of this video, it is Universal Orlando Mardi Gras. One of the new things they have is you can actually join the Mardi Gras float via a virtual queue on the Universal Orlando app. Also, another really cool thing is Universal does have a brand new ride, which is VeloCon Minions Blast, and you can actually track your progress and your score by using the Universal Orlando app. And I've said this on this channel, I think this is where we're going, especially with Epic Universe coming down the pipeline. I think there's going to be so many, little bells and whistles on the Universal Orlando app that you'll want to make sure you take advantage of. So that's why it's important to have it downloaded before you get down to the theme parks. Okay, over to the next mistake we see families make. And again, I have to give a huge shout out to Crystal Palace. This is getting a locker as soon as you walk into the theme parks. Now, the reason why you might not need a locker is that a lot of the rides that, let's say, you'd have to store your stuff will have free lockers right outside them, where you essentially get an allocated amount of time, 60 minutes, 90 minutes, to put your stuff in as you go on this ride. So if you're visiting Universal and you only have, like a backpack or, purse, stuff like that, you can easily just use the free lockers right outside the rides. Now, the other important thing to keep in mind, the reason why this is, might be a mistake, is if you're park hopping and you rent a locker in one park and then, you go over to the other park, just keep that in mind, because you'll have to go back to, the original park to grab your stuff later in the day. It's not a huge deal. It's just from a logistics standpoint, I think about this stuff when I'm getting to the parks. So you do just have to keep that in mind. Okay, another big mistake that we do see families make is possibly skipping the outdoor rides in the morning. Now, like I said, the weather in Florida can be unpredictable. So the reason why this is important to get those outdoor rides earlier in the morning is because it's, we see that typically when it comes to thunderstorms anyway, they're typically rolling in the afternoon. So what you'll do is you'll want to get all the rides outdoor rides out of the way in the morning, and then you can go, if it does start to rain, you can hop onto some of those indoor rides later in the day. Now, another important one is don't waste money on water throughout the day, or specifically water bottles, right? If you bring a reusable water bottle, you can easily get refillables, easily fill it up throughout the day, so you could also save money there. Over to the next one, and I would say, and this is a mistake I have made with my friends so many times, and I have paid the consequences because my friends, they love to complain. Now, this would be, if you want the best weather possible, a mistake would be visiting Universal Orlando in the summer. Again, this is Florida. It is extremely hot in the summer, and it is going to be really, really hot, especially if you're staying all day throughout the day. Once it hits 11 o'clock, pretty much through 4 o'clock, it is going to be high 90s, humidity, all that good stuff. The other thing I would say too is from a pricing standpoint, typically you'll get the best deals for Universal Orlando. One of the best months is September. So me and my friends, especially when we were younger, coming out of college, and we were just trying to get the most, out of our vacation for, as little as possible, we would always visit in September, and it's just as hot in September as it is in August, July, June. You're not avoiding that weather. And so that's important to keep in mind. And I would say on the flip side, if you are visiting in the summer, a mistake might be not going to Volcano Bay, right? To avoid those hot Florida sunny days, you can go and hang out in a water park, and Volcano Bay, in my opinion, is the best water park to go and do that. Okay, over to the next mistake that we see families are making, and this is a fun one. I've had a lot of people come at me in the comment section of our recent YouTube videos, and I would say or the mistake would be, if you're taking advantage of early park admission and early park admission starts at 8 a.m., the mistake is showing up to early park admission at 8 a.m. Now, so many people have come at me and said, well, my recommendation is, if you're taking advantage of early park admission, specifically at Islands of Adventure Park, if early park admission is at 8 a.m., I would show up at 7 a.m. and essentially you'll be some of the first guests on that line, and you'll wait from 7 a.m. till 8 a.m. when the park opens up, and then you can go on to the rides. Now, so many people have come at me and been like, I don't understand the logic here. You're still waiting an hour to get into the park. Don't wait that hour. You can hop onto the ride later in the night. If you hop onto the line, right before the park closes, you'll still have a very, very low wait time. That might be true. But I think the thing that people might be overlooking is that I have anxiety, right? And I know that there most likely are other people out there planning a Universal Orlando trip that might be getting anxiety from the planning aspect as well. And where it ties in is like, I don't know how, if Hagrid's Magical Creatures Motorbike Adventure is the best ride in Universal Orlando. In my opinion, it's top 3 rides in all of Orlando, right? Mentally, if this was me and this was my first time going on this ride, I don't know how I would be able to sit there in good faith, knowing that this is the ride I need to get on and I'm leaving it for absolutely last in the day. If you can do that with a clear conscience and not have any anxiety, more power to you. I cannot do that. I cannot do that. If I want to go on this ride, I need to give myself every chance possible. And I think that showing up at 7 a.m. gives you the best possible chance and opportunity to get on this ride with as little wait time as possible. And yes, you don't know what the day will bring. You could show up at 7 a.m., wait for an hour, and then unfortunately, due to mechanical issues, Hagrid's might be down. But you just pivot and you go on to Velocicoaster, Forbidden Journey, you pretty much go on whichever other ride you'd want to go on at that point in time. It is what it is. That's life. The same thing can happen on the flip side. And that's my thing. At least if the ride's not open for early park admission at 8 a.m. on the unforeseen circumstances, you could still plan around that and then try to get on it later in the day. So you're giving yourself as many opportunities as possible, as opposed to just banking on the fact that you could show up right before the park closes and, then still get on the ride with a low wait time. What happens if the ride is down then? Now the park's closed. And you'll see, I have given the tip to, if you want a lower wait time, hop on it later in the day. It's not a bad tip, but just for me, from a worrier, standpoint, I don't know. My number one is still making sure you show up for early park admission. The other thing too is I always say I'm waiting online between 7 o'clock to 8 a.m. when the park opens, but I'm not missing out on anything. The park's not open. That's not time that I paid for, and that's not time that I should be going on rides, because I guarantee if early admission's at 8 a.m. and you show up at 8 a.m. to go on those rides, you are going to be so far in the back of the line that yes, at that point you are most likely going to wait a long time to get onto Hagrid. So that's why it is important to show up really, really early and hopefully, give yourself that much more of a clear conscience throughout the day to just have fun and hang out and go about your day. Over to the that's a really long tip and trick. Over to the next one. Another mistake we see is guests will skip early park admission at Volcano Bay. Now, this is really important in those summer months, like I said, and you might be surprised just how much you can get done. Early park admission of Volcano Bay is typically a half hour, but you'll get a lot done within a half hour. And the other reason why guests, this might not want to do this is because, of course, when it comes to a water park, who wants to go and kind of, hop in the water 9:30 in the morning? Most families want to wait till the sun's up, all that good stuff. But hey, from a ride standpoint, from a having fun standpoint, this is a great time to hit the parks, specifically because you'll get on a lot of rides with very low waits. And then last but not least, another mistake that we do see kind of tying into all this with early park admission, getting there early, getting the most out of your day, we would say, not giving yourself time to get, thinking about the travel time from the hotels, if you're staying in an official Universal hotel, over to early park admission. Same thing, if you're parking, you're giving yourself time to go from the parking garage. You have to walk through security and then walk over to the main two theme parks. Or if you're going over to Volcano Bay, you do have to hop on a shuttle bus over to Volcano Bay. So just keep that in mind. Give yourself time, as you plan your days and your time over in Universal Orlando. But that is the list, everyone. Those are some of the biggest mistakes to avoid when planning a Universal Orlando trip in 2024 and beyond. I'm sure we'll have a new video just like this coming out next year, especially with the opening of Epic Universe. But like I said, if you are in the process of planning a Universal Orlando trip in 2024 and you are trying to get the best deal possible, just be sure to go check out our website, theparkprodigy.com. We do have a bunch of discounted theme park tickets. We have a bunch of discounted vacation packages, essentially everything you need to plan an amazing Universal Orlando trip. And as a thank you for sticking all the way around till the end of this video, I do have a special promo code that you can go use on any of those tickets or vacation packages to get an extra $25 off, and that promo code is going to be YouTube25. But I think that's all the time we have for today. Thank you all again so much for checking out this video, and until next time, I will talk to you soon.